everyone. Happy June and happy Juneteenth, June 19th, the day that slaves in Texas learned that they were free. An extra celebration. And today we're celebrating the Asset Leadership Network's ALN Pilot Project Network, which was launched just last month and is really taking off. Kimon Onuma has been key to establishing that. He's president of patron member Onuma Inc. So we thank him for his patronage, as well as Jacobs, ABS Quality Evaluations, Mantech, and CGI, and all of our member organizations. It's really wonderful working with everyone involved with this. And before we get started with Kimon and the ALN Pilot Project Network, here are some things that are coming up. We've got next week, the folks from Facil AI are coming in to talk about their pilot projects and award they won at Realcomm just earlier this month. That's exciting. Then we'll take a little break, and then we come back with Susan Lubell, who is highly involved in asset management in Canada and around the world. And she's going to be talking about things in the ALN Senior Fellows on the 17th. We'll be having Mark Knight and Tacoma Zach talk about a couple projects there. So lot going on. It's very exciting times in asset management, and this pilot project network is part of that excitement. Kimon, how are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for your years of BIM Storm. That kind of has been a precedent to the ALN Pilot Project Network, where we have at least 2 Asset Leadership Network members work together to demonstrate to owners a technology and processes that can help them achieve their missions in dramatically improved ways. We've been trying to figure out how to get this concept across, and the pilot project network concept is really taking off. We've got one that's not ready to be announced, but we can talk in general about it. And then pilot projects coming in from manufacturing, even bakery, interest from universities. And we were just talking about another one. I forget which that one is, but it's very unique way of giving owners a safe exposure to tools and processes that can dramatically improve their mission outcomes. So Kimon, you've been involved in this first one, which is a very neat situation where a building is really well outfit with a lot of smart assets, and we're getting them to talk to each other in ways that they haven't. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about these other pilot projects and how they can get started. And then you're presenting at an ASHRAE event next week in Phoenix, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
So you'll be talking about the pilot projects there a little bit, and you can give people a preview of what you're going to be talking about in ASHRAE. So a key to all of this has been the Linux Foundation. And what is it that you think about the Linux Foundation that has really energized the ability to use these pilot projects to help owners understand dramatic benefits?
Yeah, so maybe if we start just from the owner's perspective, first of all, the Linux Foundation is about open access to information and data, open source, open standards, and encouraging collaboration between different systems, for example. There's nothing new in that conversation in many ways. We've been talking about it for decades, right? About how we need standards and all that. The shift I think that's happening right now, and I've noticed this pattern even from last year, but even more so coming out of Realcomm is that the C-suite, the owners, are starting to ask questions like, hey, this AI stuff's really taking off. I really need to be able to optimize and use AI, for example, to understand what my assets and facilities are doing. The owners that are at the C-suite that's asking that doesn't know much about the underlying technology. They know the business reason, the why we need to become more efficient. This has been an ongoing discussion for years about the silos and disconnects between systems. But now I think for the first time in decades, it's no longer the technology or the facilities team or the team that's actually supporting the C-suite and owners. It's the actual owners themselves, from a governance perspective. We must do this to be more efficient, or we must do this to be competitive, or we must do this to understand it better. So it's up to us now to say, well, yes, here's the technology that does it. Here's the approach that we're going to take. And I strongly believe the only way to solve this is not by having any single vendor in the middle, or even two or three vendors. It's about open to anything. The owner should be able to unplug a vendor solution from their systems and plug in another one and keep going and make data an asset like we've been talking about for years.
Yeah.
And that's what these projects are really doing. They're saying not only has the technology been there, it's been there for quite a while. There's nothing new about the technology of getting access to data. What hasn't been there is governance saying we must get it. We're not going to just buy what's off the shelf and be locked into any proprietary world, because we need access to all of our data, not just some of it.
And the Linux Foundation connection is really interesting because it reconnected us with our colleagues in the ASHRAE world, in the heating, venting, air conditioning, where there are a lot of big ticket assets that are smart assets. They can talk with each other. So they're really primed for this. And when we connected last year with the Coalition for Smarter Buildings that got brought into the Linux Foundation, we had offered them a chance to talk to those leaders about the big picture of getting increased value from all of their assets. But let's start first with the HVAC assets and show you how you can benefit from these open standards there. And that seems to resonate. And it's not that this interoperable building box approach that is now part of the Linux Foundation is limited to HVAC equipment. It can work for all smart assets. And people will say, well, that's not all the assets. It's enough of the assets to get the leaders to start understanding the importance of asset management governance. And I know that's something that's important to you too.
Yeah, the smarter buildings that we've been talking about for years now. Yes, there are systems that are smart in buildings, but my view of it really is that a lot of these buildings are not really that smart because the systems don't really talk to each other. There are silos again. Yeah, the control. It's basically the building automation systems, the controls, and we're not going to name names, but there's a lot of big names out there that have their own way of doing things, and they essentially are holding these buildings and their data hostage by saying, "Well, we have your data now. Now you have to pay to get to it." So the Linux Foundation, C4, the Coalition for Smarter Buildings, essentially saying, let's open up the pipelines to this data that already exists and connect the systems together, which is this pilot project. This pilot project has an incredible building just packed with technology, but there's been a challenge of the incredible systems talking to each other. So when the lights or the sensors go off, it doesn't give you a view in the other systems. Basically, all these different silos of incredible technology that don't talk to each other. Therefore, in my view, it's not a smart building yet. It's kind of partially smart. And we just need to connect the rest of it to make it really truly smart.
Truly smart. We need to trademark the truly smart building.
Yeah.
And there's challenges, even with all these people who want to be doing the same thing. And we're working through the bumps. And that's what pilot projects are intended to do, is help people get an understanding of what is necessary to be able to roll out a enterprise-wide set of benefits. So one of the interesting things about the pilot that's going on now is it's using the interoperable building blocks that has been open source through the Linux Foundation. It's on GitHub. Anybody can do anything with it. And one of our participants is already improving the interoperable building blocks and giving it expanded capabilities, including the inclusion of AI in that. So when the systems start talking to each other, you can have, if the sun is covered by clouds, then do X, Y, or Z, and get to that truly smart building capability that you're talking about.
Actually, you're going to be hearing from Keith and Facile next week too, right?
Yes.
So it's these smart systems like what they have in Facile, basically the AI agents talking to the system and optimizing it in real time. That's one thing. But then when you start connecting system A to system B to system C, then you can have that trigger of something's happening with this piece of equipment. Now we need to trigger a work order or preventive maintenance, or there's a wildfire, which is another thing that really has interested me for years now. But we saw these buildings, we've been seeing that since the buildings aren't talking to each other within the organization, like we talked about earlier about this amazing building on the pilot, they're not even talking to emergency responders. So emergency responders that go to a building have no idea what's going on inside the building. The building is not talking to the owners, and it's also not talking to the emergency responders that are asked to come and save the building that's on fire. So they walk into the building not knowing what systems are there, what structural capability the floor has, how long the fire has been going, when's it going to collapse, and will it kill us if we go in there
Right.
to save this building, which
Mhm.
is pretty amazing if you think about it, that's kind of the status quo, basically. There's no information. The buildings are not talking to the people that we're asking to come save the buildings. And we just actually launched something in the last few weeks that we call ZAI Map, ZAI Map, that is about taking the systems that we already have in place, flipping them around for these other types of use cases, including emergency response. So it's about maintaining the building, but also using it for other things. And the only way to do that is if these systems are open and connected and talking to each other.
So the pilot programs are not only good for the owners, the pilot programs allow the consultants to demonstrate new and evolving capabilities. Because as soon as you showed that ability to share the information with first responders, the owner was very interested in that.
Mhm. Yeah, a lot of use cases like that.
Yeah, so that's why we're excited about this, the pilot project network and the asset management governance that we were talking about. Helps provide structure for moving through these pilot projects, and actually asset leadership is being seen as an important component in providing the why to the owners who are doing these pilot projects. And there's going to be in the Linux Foundation an asset leadership standard committee, and we're going to be establishing the processes that owners will want to go through in order to move into these new tools and processes. So there's a
Yeah.
lot all coming together.
Yeah. The messaging also is that there are simple ways to start, but the most important thing is to actually do something with it, not just talk about what's possible in the future. The shift that's happened now, even with AI and the coding that's happening, that AI can even create code now, right? The vibe coding, whatever, you can actually create applications very quickly. And there's just no more time to just keep talking in theory. It can't be a mirage kind of in the distance. You have to kind of pull
Right.
it forward. It's happening now.
Well, that's why the Asset Leadership Network is so happy to be able to provide this vehicle of pilots to be able to do that. And we're going to have different levels of pilots, something that is low cost or no cost, and then the ability to put together something that's as extensive as an asset owner wants to do to get started. Because for some asset owners, a $5,000 pilot project is a big deal. And to others, that's like a lunch expense. If they want to sink their teeth into something, they might need to spend $50,000. So we'll be able to have scale pilot projects, although they'll all be custom to what the owner wants.
Mhm. Yeah,
So, what is it that you're going to be presenting at ASHRAE next week? You want to give us a little highlight of
yeah,
that?
yeah. You want me to share my screen?
If I let you,
Yeah.
should have done that before the session started. All right, you can share your screen now.
Okay. Let's see. Well, these are some of the slides. So we have the oops, audio is on. Did you hear that?
Oh, no, you would have had to click share audio, but that's a
You
great
don't need.
slide
Yeah. So
to
that's
open up.
the tiger team that I mentioned.
Well,
Like,
yeah, can you go into a little bit about this?
about what?
The Tiger
About the
Team?
tiger. Yeah. So it's the Coalition for Smarter Buildings that is part of the Linux Foundation now that formed the tiger team, which I'm involved with, coming from the angle of BIM. Um, but it's about getting different organizations together and looking at systems, different standards, even BACnet and BIM and um, other real estate core, and I can't even name them all. There's more and more coming in, but how do we get these different standards even organizing and finding the common touch points? Not to merge them into one standard, but to say, if we need information about buildings, obviously it's coming from BIM or GIS or wherever, and we have information about real estate and leases is coming from the real estate core, and we have information about sensors and building automation systems. There's Haystack, there's BACnet, there's all these different standards and protocols. How do we get them to talk to each other so we don't have and it's about the semantics and ontology. What do we call things, and what are the relationships? What are the use cases that support these? And how do we create the smarter connections and support the owners? So that's kind of the why. Why are we even doing this? And it moved pretty quickly once the Linux Foundation and C4SB decided to bring these groups together through the network that they already knew. They said, let's create a 8-week effort to kind of at least start thinking about it and presenting the why and how we're going to do that. So that was presented through the C4SB at the Realcomm conference, and I'll just be mentioning at ASHRAE. So that's what this slide's about.
Okay.
Um, and then I'm also talking about the California community colleges as a use case of and I think we presented this before, but it's basically a large organization, large owner organization that's been going for close to 15 years now with data that's shared, getting it out of paper, getting it into systems, building APIs so we can build applications on top of that, whether they're BIM or GIS, and then giving that same information to the end user so they can go into the field and do work orders, for example, and see floor plans of buildings, not have to be bothered with the complexity of it all, and having many systems talking to each other. So that's another theme there from the use case. I mean, from a case study perspective of the community colleges. And the theme again, going back to it should be open and accessible, meaning there shouldn't be any silos or no vendors that kind of lock the data into their system, and basically being able to freely use that data regardless of what tool you're using. I'll
That's a
pause it for a second.
that's a
Mhm.
key element of all this. Owners have to insist on that.
Yeah. And that's maybe the main message is the owners have to ask the right questions, because what we've seen over the years is this weird dynamic that there are systems that are in place that are in silos within the organization that then get protected not only by the vendor that sold that system, but also by the internal IT teams that protect what they've helped build internally. So it's an internal and an external connection. And the owner that's paying for this data doesn't know to ask the right questions. Where is this system open, and why do we have these silos? And now with there's no technological reason why systems can't talk to each other, and that's where the Linux Foundation and the open connections come in.
Okay,
So it's
and if
really
we can,
governance. Yeah,
yeah, it's the asset management governance aspect of it.
that's right.
And while you've been saying this for a long time, and I've been involved in the Asset Leadership Network for 12 years now, I think AI is the pivot point. The
Yeah,
reason my owners are saying it now is because there is a technology that's even more powerful than the iPhones that are getting the attention, and people realize we need to change our tools, include AI tools, and our processes. The AI changes the way we do business. And if you don't have asset leadership over all of this, you risk things coming apart at the seams.
yeah. And the reason AI, I think, has been the driver because it's basically for most users is that box, right? I'm going to type a question into AI and ask it how to make an apple pie or whatever. But now you're saying you can type a question and start having a conversation with your assets. How are we doing? How much space do we have? What are the risks? All that kind of conversation stuff. And the C-suite and the owner saying, wow, I can get to this information easily. So the shift that I've been seeing, and I also heard confirmed at Realcomm last week, we've all been used to these incredible dashboards that have all these dials and charts and everything because we've been trained to think in terms of we need this complexity and then we need somebody to be able to read through these charts and see patterns. And the theme that was kept on coming up over and over again is that dashboards are going away essentially. You're still going to have dashboards, but it's not about dashboards, it's about AI looking at the information and then having a conversation with your data in a, you know, in English or whatever language you speak to it, and then be able to understand what it's saying. So yeah, and the simplicity is also important. If we're used to using our phones to get from point A to point B, we need that same simplicity to be able to get to our information. And that's where the Coalition for Smarter Buildings and Linux Foundation, we have all these silos. But if you think in terms of you don't need to solve all this, all these silos are still important. You still have different groups that need to get to their data at a very detailed level. So for example, using building information modeling for design and construction, you still need that full detailed BIM for design and construction. But if somebody wants to know how big is that conference room in building A, they have no reason to go and understand what BIM is. They just have a conversation of how many conference rooms do we have in that building? How's the energy being used in that building? How many, whatever, energy per square foot, how many dollars, what's the total cost of ownership? The only way to do that is to have these silos that get connected and are talking to each other in an open way. And that's the common kind of a train line across this. I'm using a train as an example here, but you don't need to understand every single detail about the stations here. You just need to know that you can get from point A to point B.
Excellent. And this is kind of overwhelming to do this for an entire enterprise. But if you start off small with a pilot that helps you understand how to get going, you're in better shape to roll
Yeah.
that enterprise wide.
And maybe for the owners, what we actually have a mini roadmap on our website that's downloadable. But the main message I'm pushing more and more now, and this has been going on for years, but when you go to buy an application, you don't go and say, well, which one has the best features? I'm going to just try it. It's like you go to the App Store, right? Well, I need a mapping app. Okay, I don't like Google Maps. I like Apple app Maps, or I like Open Maps or whatever. You basically just go and throw the app away and get the one that you want, right? So it's not about asking which application do you buy to get to your data? The first thing you should ask, if I buy this application, can I get my data out of it? And is there an API? You shouldn't even have to look at any marketing pitch. It's almost like the first question. How open is your application? Can I get to my data? Can other applications get to the data that you're putting in your application? And what happens if I want to leave and no longer use your application? Can I get your data into another system? And every single owner that we work with makes the mistake of not asking that question and going for 6 months or a year and testing and piloting and then realizing, wow, I can't get my data out of that application. Well, that's bad on the governance and the owner that did not ask that question when they started evaluating solution. That's the asset as a data from an owner's perspective. It's just a very simple question, but it's not asked.
So, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if you have any, I don't want to show all the slides here. I
No,
can keep
no, that's
going,
fine.
but
Actually, I was hoping you would stop sharing this and pull up your Xi video,
oh,
because if you stop sharing and then when you start it again, push the share sound also. So stop sharing
which Xi video are you talking about, Mike?
the minute one.
Oh, okay. I didn't have that pulled up, but
Oh, never
I
mind.
can't.
Never
Yeah,
mind.
it's okay.
Go
It's not.
to let me put that link into the uh, ZA small I.com.
Dimap.com.
Okay. Because,
Actually, but yeah, it's here, right? This is the one you're talking about, right?
yeah, right. Because Kimon is using AI to make videos now. He's got his own video production company, talking with real retired fire chiefs and captains about how to make this application useful to all first responders. And this is all AI generated.
It's mixed.
Oh, it
This is
is mixed.
AI, but Christopher is real. The fire's AI,
Right,
but
right,
there's something
right.
real. The maps are real. It's basically storytelling. That's the other thing that we've seen with AI is that you can use it for a lot of different things. And some of the graphics get kind of weird sometimes, but it's a rapid way of kind of storyboarding something and then explaining. Well, here, if you had a floor plan of a building and the firefighter could go in the building and see where the fire is going, they don't have to go to that floor to see if the fire is on there or not. Because what they're doing, which is just absolutely nuts. They have zero visibility or floor plans about the building when they get there, and they just jump in and
Risk their
open up,
life.
risk their
Risk
life, and
their life.
die. Literally die. Yeah, they fall in place, and they can't find them in the building because they don't have the floor plan. Where he fell through the floor, where is he on the floor below? We don't have a floor plan, and it died in place. Basically, there's a lot of stories like that.
Yeah, it's sad. Well, it's a moral issue for society, I think, that we can address now in ways that we haven't been able to in the past. And I'm
Mhm.
really glad that this came out as something that's of interest to our first pilot project owner.
Yeah, and for us, this emergency response module that we added, it's a no cost feature for the community colleges that are already using our system. So we're saying you already are using this for day-to-day operations. Just open it up to the fire department so they can get access to it, just like you're using it to clean up water on the floor or respond to a hot call in the room.
It's a very hot call.
Yeah.
And the Asset Leadership Network is honored to be a bridge to other associations, emergency response and firefighting associations, to help try to uh, promote this and make it a culturally acceptable activity to share your building data with your first responders in a secure manner.
Mhm.
All right, we're at the bottom of the hour. Um, uh, Everyone who is interested in learning more about the ALN Pilot Project Network can contact me. I'm putting my email address in, and of course, you can contact Kimon about being involved with him in any type of pilot project? You got a few lining up, don't you? Kimon.
Yeah.
And oh, hospital. That was the other one with a hospital. So manufacturing, baking, offices, hospital, all kinds of pilot projects coming. And we'd love to have other people participate. So please feel free to reach out. And Kimon, thank you again for your time. We look
Thank
forward
you.
to everyone joining us again next week when Facil.ai will be showing their pilot work and how it won an award at RealCom. Thanks everyone for joining us. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks.
Bye for now.